Hello,
everybody. We are here.
Yes.
How's it going? I think we forgot to do our title sequence.
Oh, okay.
You know
well,
why?
That's okay.
Because I let you hit the button. That's
exactly.
why. I'm supposed to hit the button. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We are Butch and Julieann Hartman. Welcome to HARTbeat, where we talk about marriage, relationships, and all that other kind of fun stuff.
I know. And also.
And fish and chips and all that. We talk about all sorts of things.
I look really tall.
Well, you're probably, I think your seat's higher.
I think
than
my
mine.
seat is higher.
Might be a little higher.
But it is going to be awesome. I hope you guys are going to enjoy what we're going to talk about today because, you know, in marriage, it's really important that, you know, we need help. Like we need counseling at times.
Like we need help, like you and I need help.
No,
we actually do. A lot of times we do.
Yes, like we need help in our relationships. We need help in our jobs. We need help in things that to make us be able to go to another level and to be even more successful. Yep. But sometimes people think that means you're weak, you're a loser, your marriage is not good, you know, whatever it is. But we don't think of it that way.
If you ask for help, some people look at it as like a demerit or a demotion.
Yeah. And you can't look at it that way because that's defeating, right? And you're not defeated. You're very strong because you're in the Lord. You're strong in the Lord and the power of his might.
Even if you're watching a show like this, it means that you're seeking answers, maybe for some of the questions you don't have answers to. And that's a wonderful thing to do because again, why did the Lord leave us his word? He left the Bible because he knew we would be searching for answers because that's as humans. That's what we do. We search for things and we need answers. You know, it's funny. Don't you wish when you were born, someone gave you a pamphlet with all the answers that you would need?
Boy, do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, do I. They did not give us a set of instructions. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So anyway, we wanted to talk about the 5 key elements for a successful marriage. And
we actually did this teaching last week at Andrew Wommack's Charis Bible College. We were up at the Healing is Here conference. If you didn't get a chance to see the Healing is Here conference, go check it out at awmi.net.
Or just go to Instagram or YouTube or whatever and just look up
Healing is Here.
Healing is Here. It was amazing. It was awesome. I mean, seriously, like we're still like in a dream state of what happened because it was awesome.
We did 3 hours on marriage and just walking people through what we feel are some of the points that make a good marriage. And we have some of those points here.
Yes.
Would you like to hear them? If you would, type yes. We won't even start until I get like 3 yeses. Give me 3 yeses, and then we will let you know. But the conference was great. It was up in Colorado, up at the beautiful Charis Bible College. We got 3 yeses right there. Alexandra gave us 3. Do we count those as 3 or 1?
Yes. And Tyler wants to know what your favorite color is.
Tyler wants to know what my favorite color. Tyler is there's kind of a blue color I like. It's sort of like this color blue. You see the blue on this
It's like electric blue.
Not electric blue. But I don't wear a lot of blue, which is interesting.
You don't, but you look really good in blue. Because what color does Butch Hartman, color is he known for?
That's right.
Black.
I always wear black.
He always wears a black shirt.
I always wear a black shirt. I have a gray shirt on today. Debbie says she streamed the conference. It was amazing. And yes, there we go.
It was awesome. So let's start with.
So here's some of the things that we think make a strong marriage. Well, here's some questions actually we have. We have questions. Yes. We have this. We have that. And let's just go. And by the way, if we don't get through all of these today, that's fine. We'll do some other series.
We'll start with this one right there.
Okay, here we go. This is a question.
Oh, no, actually, number 2.
Number 2. Is your marriage on life support?
Now, so what does that mean?
Is your marriage on life support?
When somebody is on life support, there's a machine that's keeping you alive.
That means their body is too weak to support itself. Can your marriage support itself, or do you constantly need help from other people as far
or
as
is your marriage just failing and you need oxygen, right? And you don't know where to turn. And so that's really important to really get an understanding of that. And because I'll tell you what, if you don't know the state of your marriage, you won't know how to change anything. I mean, sometimes we're like, well, I'm not going to admit that, but you're like, but when you don't, it's not like it's about admitting anything. It's about where are we right now in our marriage? Like, where are we? Okay, how do we get along? How do we communicate? How do we do it? And we're going to read all these things. But first of all, decide, like, is my marriage on life support? Is our marriage on life support?
And if it is on life, if it is on life support, how long does it have to live? You need to go like, are we in dire straits
day by day? Like, I don't know. I mean, they got to come in.
Do we have months? Do we have years? Do we have minutes? I mean, what state is your marriage in? It's probably a good thing to look at that and see where you are and really be honest too, because guys, listen, we don't have a lot of time to mess around in life. You know, there's no extra time you're going to get. Don't you wish you could call Amazon and get an extra 20 years? Boy, there's a movie for you right there. You know, guys, there was a movie about that too, where people use time instead of currency, which was pretty good. But anyway.
Oh, I remember that movie. That was really good.
Justin Timberlake was in it, but it was a future society where you could use time, and the rich people had eons of time.
Alexandra knows what that movie
probably
is.
Anyway,
let's move on from here. So,
is your marriage a life support? How long does it have to live? That's our first question. Second question, why don't you read that one?
Do you feel as though you failed as a spouse or parent?
Do you feel as though?
So this is a huge question. This is not just, we're just going to keep going down the list, but this is a huge question, and this one is not. We are not meaning it to
put you on the spot, right?
At all, because
we'll condemn you in other ways, but not
because what's happening. That's a joke. Because what's happening is that if you do feel as though you failed as a spouse or a parent, you're holding on to a lot of condemnation. So that's why we'd like to free you of that. You know, there's a lot of parents out there that are, you know, older. Your kids are past 18, but you're still blaming yourself for some of their behavior. And so we're telling you right now that even if you did cause the problem, but God still wants to free you of that. God still says to you, do not condemn yourself. This is not about condemnation. This is about freedom. So when you're freed up of the feelings of, I should have done this, I wish I would have done that, gosh, why did I blow it? You know, why was I an alcoholic? I mean, a lot of people that were once addicts of some sort and now they aren't, that's usually the first thing that they go to is like, why did I do that to my child? And so you've got to allow the Lord to heal your heart on that, because that's what he wants to do. He does not want to condemn you in any way.
Next question. Do you have good communication? Now, even if you're not married or in a relationship, do you have good communication with people? Do people enjoy conversing with you?
Yes.
Do they know they can converse with you? When you converse with people, is it all about you or is it about the other person? You know, I do want to say something about conversation. People love to feel as though they're listened to.
Oh,
and
definitely.
When they don't feel like they're listened to, you're probably the last one they want to talk. I mean, what I'm saying is we are probably the last ones they want to talk to. If it's all about us, we monopolize the conversation, we jump right in there and talk all about ourselves and don't ask one question about the other person. That could be tricky. As pastors, and listen, I've done this many times myself, but as pastors, we meet a lot of individuals who you'll sit down and it's just a laundry list of things that are going on, because they just want to talk about their issue without even hearing somebody else's opinion.
Yeah.
And so you've got to make sure your communication is good. And that starts with the denial of yourself. Jesus says, you want to follow me, deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. So it's about the denial of yourself.
So a communication now in your marriage specifically is, what is your communication like? You know, if you don't communicate, that'd be like saying that, you know, I have no communication with the Lord. Well, how do you learn anything? Like, how do you get, how does the Holy Spirit speak to you? Like, you have to have open communication with the Lord. You cannot be feeling like, well, I've made all these mistakes and I just can't even let God look at me. No. That's ridiculous. That's a lie. So don't allow that to mess with you, because that's what that does. Remember, the enemy can't put anything on you that you're not believing yourself already. Okay. And let me say that again. The enemy cannot put something on you that you're not already believing.
And when we leave an open door for the enemy, that's his invitation to come right in and start messing with you. And the open door is something you might do unwittingly. You might not even realize you're leaving an open door for the enemy. Like I've been watching these certain shows or hanging out with these certain people. Ideas are getting into your head. You're feeling numb to certain bad things. See, that's the way the enemy works in society is he makes us numb to things that ordinarily would bother us. That's why if you see this slow decay of society over the last 50 years, you'll see how different things were 50 years ago as opposed to now. You're like, how did this happen? Where did all this come from? Well, it was right in front of your face the whole time. It just happened subtly. And that's how the enemy works. It's always subtle.
Yep. And so communication with your spouse can look like a lot of things, but you have to do it. Communication is, when do you find the time to spend time together to talk? When have you designated? We've talked about this a lot on this broadcast. When do you designate a time to be with your spouse that it's not like, this is the worst timing in the world, you guys, you've got to, to your spouse, like, hey, this is the worst timing. Please, can we talk about it here or can we talk about it there? But you have to communicate at least those kind of rules of like, when do we? So when you set a time to talk, because just know this, that you might say something to your spouse that you're like, I had no idea that upset her or him. None whatsoever. But the person that received it is very upset. And so what do you have to do? Well, you got to talk. Hey, listen, I know that you don't even know this, but what you said to me tonight, what you said in front of everybody tonight really embarrassed me. And you'd be like, what? I would never try to embarrass you. Well, it did. And so those are things that you need to talk about, because, for Butch, he'd be like, but I never would have intentionally tried to hurt you. But Julieann got her feelings hurt. So let's talk. So no matter what, if your feelings are hurt, if you got hurt by those words, you got to deal with that, whether you think that they should have gotten upset or not. You still have to deal with it. And I know that, we've had that happen many times between us. Even I've gone like, wait, what are you talking about? Right? And Butch is saying the same thing to me, like, what did I say? So those things have to be talked about. You've got to set your boundaries on how and when and how frequent you have those conversations.
But if you can try not to be offended in the first place, that's the other thing that we have to work on, is the offense in our heart. Sometimes that offense will creep up in the weirdest way, and you didn't mean for it to creep up. You had no intention of it creeping up, but there it is. So, okay, going on to the next one. Number 5. This is
number 4.
Number 4.
You're right. No, you're not. You're right. Number 5.
Well, it is number 5 on the list, but we didn't read the first one. So
right.
As far as they're concerned, it's number 4. Do you respect your husband? Ladies, do you respect your husband? But then, hold on, before you answer that, I'm going to the next question. Gentlemen, do you honor your wife?
Right.
So it's respecting the husband and honoring your wife. Are those two things done? Are they done on a daily basis? That's something that really needs to be worked on. And a lot of these things are sort of forcing you to look at yourself. Did I really treat her that way? Did I really say that? You've really got to make sure that your hearts are aligned in the right way. And you got to make sure that, you do honor your wife and respect your husband.
Yeah. I mean, respecting your husband, I always feel this way, and that when men don't feel respected, you might as well just cut their arm off, because they really do look for their wives to respect them. And my gosh, if you as the wife is not respecting your husband, who is going to?
Yeah, somebody else will.
Yeah, someone else will. And then you risk the chance of some bad things happening as a result of that. So you don't want to. And husbands, honoring your wives in the way that she should be honored. I mean, let's face it, like, for instance, I was home with the girls, but she always told me what an incredible job that I did with our girls, and always encouraged me. At any given time, he would always try to, let me know how appreciative he was that I would be home with the girls all day, because that's a lot. When we're home with children, we are having to play all day.
Or right? Play, entertain,
talk,
take care of, exactly.
Feed, all of that.
Feed.
So that's
they always want to be fed. What's up with these kids?
Right. And honoring your wife, it's like, how do I honor you? It's like, we honor the Lord, right? We are in thanksgiving of him. How do you honor your wife? Well, you encourage her. You just, gosh, how would you honor me? I mean, so many ways you've already have.
Well, that's very sweet of you. No, honoring her means respecting her feelings, doing what she wants to do, letting her know how beautiful and loved she is, especially in public. Honoring her in public. When you can honor your spouse in public, that is huge. And I mean that. And by the way, if you're not married, honor your friends in public. Compliment your friends. Compliment the people that you're with. Build them up in front of other people. Not only does it make you look great, because you're being a complimentary person, but it makes the person you're complimenting feel fantastic. And there's never a wrong time to compliment somebody ever.
No, not at all. So that's really important to the two of you. So respecting your husband, honoring your wife, those are really, I can't even stress that enough. Those are really important. Please do not forsake those. And talk to your spouse about that. Say, ask your spouse, do you feel that you do you think you honor me? Or I'm sorry, ask your spouse, do you feel that I honor you?
It's a big question.
Yes, and it is a big question.
And when you ask that question, be prepared for the answer.
Right, but you can't avoid it. You've got to ask it. Just like you would ask, so just like the spouse or the wife would ask the husband, do you feel that I respect you? And I respect your opinion. I respect how you want to run, how you want to handle the house, the finances, and all of that stuff. Those are really good questions you need to ask your spouse.
Alexander has a question. It's pretty long, but honest question. How can God touch a situation where a husband has Asperger's and doesn't understand how to express love to his wife and kids? I realize about my dad because he doesn't understand relationships. That's a very good question. Look, every situation is different, and God understands that. God understands the situation going on with your dad. And I would hope that the spouse of someone with Asperger's understands that as well. If I'm only going to use the word normal because I can't think of another word to use, but
or someone without.
Well, somebody without Asperger's has the capacity to treat somebody in a more, I guess, regular fashion.
But I got news for you. There's people that do not have Asperger's that don't know how to
exactly. I'm sure your dad treats your mother way better than a lot of people who aren't dealing with that, and they still have the option to treat people nice, but they don't. But that's a unique situation. It's a great question. But yeah, God completely understands that, and hopefully the spouse of someone dealing with that understands it as well. Yeah, we're talking about everything we're talking about now. We're assuming everybody that we're speaking of right now has the understanding of how to do this sort of thing. Yeah.
And also too,
hope I explained that correctly.
But maybe it just has to be repeated all the time.
Yeah.
Just all the time.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is what I desire. This is what I like. And then he feels, I'm sure he's got some desires too, that he feels maybe he's not getting fulfilled. So communication is always the answer.
And that's where communication comes in. And plus you got to learn how to communicate with someone with that situation going on. There's all kinds of obviously factors. A younger couple is going to treat each other different than an older couple will, and all that other stuff. So there's all kinds of different factors. Okay, here we go. Is your spouse demanding to the point you feel as though you have to perform for them? Is your spouse demanding to the point where you feel as though you got to perform for them?
That's really hard because someone that feels like they have to perform for their spouse, they never can relax. They never can rest because it's all about what they can do for the spouse so that they feel that they are, loving them, or they feel like, now I'm in his good graces or whatever, which is really hard. I've only known a few people in my life where the husband actually felt like he had to perform for the wife all the time. And that's just all,
Was it me? Was I the one? I bet it was me.
It's really sad though. It's like no one should have to perform for anybody.
No, except me for Julieann. That's it.
Right. He's my.
I'm her performing monkey. That's what I am. That's
but no one should ever perform for anybody. That's just wrong. It's not right, and you need to look at that. If you feel you are the one that's being that way, or you feel like that your spouse is performing for you, just nip that in the bud now. Because why? You know what that's going to get? It's going to get bitter. It's going to get angry. It's going to get very hurt, going to get very offended. And then with all of those combined, oh my gosh, it would be a huge earthquake in the house because the person's going to get revenge or retaliate at some point.
Yeah. Always. That's always a kettle waiting to blow for sure. Here's another one.
This one here.
This one?
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read it and you explain it.
Okay.
How do you be intentional? How do you, talking to you?
Yes.
How do you, okay, it's opposite here. How do you be intentional? Explain what intentional means.
Well, when you are intentional about something, that means I am making a point. like every morning to wake up, and hey, say wonderful things, wonderful blessings over my spouse. I am being intentional about letting him know how awesome he is, how much he's loved, and what he does, and thank him for what he does for the family. Okay, that's one scenario. But
can you imagine, ladies or gentlemen,
yes,
saying that over your spouse every day? And that's something we really should think of saying.
Absolutely. So I'm intentionally telling him every day that how much he means to me. And who would not want to hear that? I don't care. I've seen some real curmudgeons. Is that a word? Curmudgeons. Curmudgeons. Okay.
Boom.
I've seen lots of curmudgeons that are like, they act like, ugh, I don't, my wife drives me crazy or whatever. And it's like, at this age, who cares? No, at this age, we do care, because just like because with every year you fall deeply in love with Jesus, why wouldn't you also with every year fall more deeply in love with your spouse? Why not?
A curmudgeon is a bad-tempered, difficult, cantankerous person. That is a curmudgeon. So don't be a curmudgeon.
It sounds like a something in the ocean.
A curmudgeon, yeah, it does sound like kind of like a shellfish,
a crustacean,
a curmudgeon. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But seriously though, how can you be intentional about things? Do you want to make your spouse lunch? Do you want to be intentional about making that he make his favorite meal? Do you want to be intentional about maybe putting a little card on his steering wheel before he goes to work? Like you run wherever their car is and put a card on the steering wheel and then let them get it. What are things that you can do that are so intentional? As a spouse, as the husband, you want to be intentional about telling your wife, hey, I see how you've been cleaning this house. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah. I see how you're doing the laundry. I see how well you treat our kids. I see how hard you work doing this, and that. That's being intentional. Do you hear me? That is what intentionality is all about in relationships.
Here's another question. Big one for everybody. Do you listen? Don't say anything. Shh. Do you listen? Because listening is an art form that has been long forgotten. Everybody, and myself included, everybody wants to tell you about them. Everybody wants to tell you about their issues, their problems, what's wrong. Very few people want to listen. And you'll find out, I believe, I haven't been on a first date for 30-something years, but on a first date, you better, you better listen to the person you're on a date with, because they want to be listened to. If it's all about you, the Bible is very clear. It says, he who humbles himself will be exalted, but he who exalts himself will be humbled. Meaning, if you're all about you, you're going to get humbled eventually. But if you're just plain, simple, humble person, the Lord's going to lift you up. And it's even better when he lifts you up, because he lifts you up right where you're supposed to be.
Right. So he literally does the elevating.
He does the hard work, the heavy lifting.
He does the lift. And when he does that lift, oh my gosh. So imagine this. He's lifting you up, but all these things are breaking off of you. Yeah. All the past bondage is just like literally chains are breaking off of you. Why? Because he wants you free. He doesn't want you bound. He wants you free. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Exactly. And he wants you free. He wants you to be living your best life. That's what, if you think about it, that's what he died for us to have, not to have a crappy life, not for us to have a life full of strife. And wherever there's strife, wherever there's envy, there's strife and every evil work, right? There's envying other couples. That's a big one. When you see someone else having this great relationship and you don't have it, and you're envying their relationship, that's rough. That's really rough. And so that's when you just got to say, no, my relationship is awesome. And I refuse to allow anybody to say anything else or to be in any other way. But I believe that. We just had somebody come by the office. So Butch had to step out. But think about it. We are this. if we want our marriages to work, if we want communication to be stellar, to be open, to be free, to be able to talk about anything, to have the secrets in our hearts exposed in a good way, and not letting our hearts be destroyed by someone having knowledge about you. Could be your spouse, it could be a boyfriend, it could be a girlfriend, but someone now knows something about you that now you're like devastated because you don't know if they're going to mess with your heart or if they're going to caress your heart and help walk you through it. And they can be very instrumental in that, because why? Because they're the ones that you've chosen to spend your life with, the one that you're choosing you're choosing in the future to spend your life with. Whatever it is, you've got to have good communication. You need to be intentional. You need to listen. Listening is not, if I don't have my phone on me, but listening is not being on your phone going like this. You remember I have my cast on, so I can't use both hands. But listening is not going, scrolling through your phone and going, oh yeah, yeah, sure. That's not listening. You are disrespecting your spouse when you're on your phone and you're trying to communicate. When she or he is trying to communicate with you and you're on your phone, that is called disrespectful. So I just want you to know that means a lot to us girls. And I know it means a lot to you guys too. Heck, of course it does. You guys, men are just as mortal as everybody else, a human being, right? So being intentional, listen to your spouse, communicating daily. What else did we say? No performing in front of with your spouse. You don't, and by the way, I hope you're not performing for anybody else. That performance-based kind of behavior will put you in the worst state of bitterness and offense. The worst state of bitterness and offense will come from that one thing. So, do you communicate? Do you respect your husband? Do you honor your wife? Are you performance-based? And also, are you, how's your communication? Are you being intentional? And do you listen? Those are really important things. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. We've got such great things happening. We've got our conference on September 28th and 29th in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and it's at Covenant Life Church. We cannot wait. We only have 400 seats. We already have 220 signed up. We got to make sure that we have rooms. So get in there now. Don't wait till the last minute. Get in there now, and we will post when we're too full. So I love you guys. Tomorrow morning is Cindy Mezas and Mike Hoesch, who I know you love, is amazing. So take these videos, share them with people that might be going through some stuff with their marriage. Also, help us bring these teachings to you through our website, healingjourneystoday.com, where you can go and you can donate to this, to Healing Journeys Today, which is awesome. So we love you so much, and we will see you next time on HARTbeat. Bye-bye.